Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Adina here from Oakland Realty. I'm here with, go ahead, Chris.
Chris Cornbrough from Forefront Mortgages. I'm a senior mortgage consultant.
And it's Dave Goodison from Forefront Mortgages as well. I work with Chris.
And David Watts. I'm a notary public in downtown Vancouver.
Great. Well, thanks for being here, everyone. I know, Adina, maybe you want to moderate this and start with a couple of or many pointed questions about the real estate market, how things are with you, and we can elaborate on the mortgage market, and David can kind of go into the details about what's happening in the legal field.
Yeah. So I think we're all
Sounds
on the
good.
same page. We're all doing this to bring some more information to our clients because we've had a lot of questions over the last few weeks. Definitely some big changes in the real estate market in terms of how we're doing showings and transactions. Almost everything's moved virtually. So a lot of our showings now are happening with virtual tours via phone and video. Everything signing is happening electronically and on calls. But certainly we've seen some momentum keeping up in the market. Things have definitely slowed down in the last week. And I think sales are definitely going to slow down, which is a good thing because we all need to stay indoors right now. But we do have clients out there who need to buy and sell, and we're doing our best to help them make it happen. So it's definitely been an adjustment here. And yeah, I'd love to talk to you, Chris and Dave Watts, about what's going on from once we get the offer accepted, what changes you've seen on the lending side in terms of getting approvals, and also on the signing side for completion, and what our buyers need to be aware of.
I think.
Yeah,
Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll field this one. Just one of the questions that I've got, it's good. It's a good one. Is are lenders still working? Are people still getting mortgages? What's happening? So right out the gate, mortgages are still happening. Lenders are still fully working. We had a crazy week or two when everybody was shifting to working from home, which was tough, logistically. But everything happened as it should. So we're still getting approvals. We're still able to work with clients, work with different lenders, all that good stuff. It's just taking a little bit longer. So, if we could get you approval in 2 days, now it's say 3 or 4 days. If you want to look at a refinance, we're looking at about a week. Again, depending on the need, we can still prioritize, but it's a little bit slower.
I think the key message from every single lender that we work with has been business as usual. No one's stopped. No one's not lending. They're still adjusting, but there's not been any hiccups in respect to getting a new mortgage or refinancing or even renewing your mortgage. If you have a mortgage coming up for renewal, lenders aren't doing anything differently. You don't have to requalify. You don't have to worry about if you're not working or you're temporarily laid off. Lenders will still allow you to renew your mortgage as long as you're not modifying any terms. So you're not looking at taking any more money out or something along those lines, which would normally trigger an application. Every lender, they're all in the same boat as well. They do want to help their existing customers and new customers weather this storm for 3, 6, 12 months. So we've seen lenders really be proactive, reach out. I think there's going to be some good opportunity from this in respect to streamlining some of the processes, which could be a silver lining in regards to the mortgage market. And there's lots of things happening, but also at the same time, it is business as usual for sure.
And what happened with the change? Because that was supposed to come April 6th, right? And now it's not coming.
Yeah, the Ministry of Finance was going to lower the stress test or modify the stress test a little bit. But I think they've got bigger things on their plate right now. So that's just on pause. It didn't really make a lot of difference to most of our clients anyway. So it was a nice to have, but not a necessity in respect to our job. I imagine after this is done that there's going to be probably some additional testing maybe done by lenders. Maybe if you've got a rental property, perhaps maybe they want you to put a few months of rental payments on deposit with them, for example, just to make sure that you're not solely reliant on rental income when your tenant loses their job, for example. This could be something. And certainly in regards to commercial real estate, what's your tenant mix? If you have, a 10-unit commercial building and 8 of them are restaurants, that maybe now isn't as appealing no pun intended, as it used to be from a lending perspective. So I'm sure there's going to be more changes to come, but for the average real estate mortgage holder, it's going to be business as usual for the most part.
Yeah. And there was a slight change, not to the system, but they did lower their rate on the stress test moderately. That was kind of hidden in all the other news that was going on. But yeah, as Chris said, very little impact to actually qualifying. But if people are still having problems with that, there are lenders that we have access to, credit unions that don't use the same stress test. So they're still open for business as well.
And David Watts, on the closing side, I've heard some kind of mixed things from lawyers, but I've had a few lawyers saying that they're shutting down or really tapering off business and only working with select clients. They're trying to limit signings. What are you seeing, and how are clients managing this?
There's sort of a variety of things, I think, happening in the market. There's, we have a lot of deals that have been under contract for some time. We've got other deals that are kind of coming up. We've got some people are, buying and selling, so it involves an actual move. Others, we have refinances as well. But basically, there's, we are trying to, do our part in the work from home and social distancing and everything like that. One issue we have, or not issue, but in terms of doing the legal part and doing the signing with our clients, we are required under the current legislation to meet in person with people. So now for us, what that's meaning, the key wording being appear before, that does mean in person, but we are taking it to mean, and other notaries and lawyers, as well as the land title office, appear before for us means at a safe distance. So what a lot of notary and lawyer offices are doing is developing a strategy or a meeting protocol where they meet the clients not necessarily at their desk in their office, but what we're doing, for instance, is we prepare all the documents, email them in advance, and then have a phone call to go through everything. And whatever doesn't need to be notarized, we'll sign over the phone, and then have those documents scanned and emailed back to us. The ones that do need to be witnessed or notarized, we will then meet in person. But for our office, what we're looking at is there's a plaza around the street that's outside, around the corner that's outside, and we'll have our clients print the documents in advance, and we'll meet and we'll stay 10 feet apart or whatever, 15 feet apart, or we're not right on 6 feet. We're trying to risk manage a little bit more than that. But we will want our clients to still hold up their identification, which will take a photo of them holding their identification. And then they will iPhone photo and send it to us. They'll sign the documents in our presence. We'll witness them. Then they will iPhone photo those documents, send them to us. And then we will sign an identical copy in our office or on our, that's not connected. So we don't have an exchange of actual physical documents. I think when we started with this, we started out with, bring your own pen and, try not to cough in our office, but we're taking it a bit further than that. And, I think I don't see this process as ending in 2 weeks. I mean, we're going to be in this for a little while for it to be effective. I mean, ideally, 4 to 6 weeks, but realistically, I think we have to be planning for this process for a couple of months at least. Mm-hmm. So I think that I would not say that it's business as usual. All of our files are taking quite a bit longer as there's just more involved. And in some cases, we have to drive out to see our clients, and maybe we're going to stand in their driveway while they sign in the front window of their house, or they come out on the deck, or in some of the strata buildings downtown, they're inside the glass plaza and we're on the outside, or whatever it is. We just have to sort of take a look at each situation as what's going to keep our clients safe from us, and vice versa. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think we still are working to get the deals done. But I would encourage, I guess, where people need a place to live, or there's a real need for some housing change, let's do the deal. But I think, we're all listening to the news and everything else. And like you guys have said, the stay home theme is pretty prevalent right now. So I think, for buyers anyways, I know we were chatting earlier, it's a really good time to get prepared and make sure your taxes are done for your lender, and, do the online shopping, which you're talking about, of, looking in different places. But, I don't see the need to rush into bidding wars and signing deals on the hood of the car in the next couple of weeks. So, which I don't see happening anyways. But it's an interesting time right now, so we have to play accordingly.
Have you seen any changes to the land title office too? Are things taking longer to register there, or?
No, the land title office itself is all online. We e-file all our documents, so the registrations part of it is fine.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge for us is to minimize and mitigate in-person contact and document contact. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, I was talking about taking iPhone photos of the documents. We used to run them all through our scanner, mm-hmm. But we're being told that, if someone who's has the virus, if they cough on the documents, that can be on your paper for 5 days, or who knows? I don't know. I'm not a science person. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what the numbers are, but we want to mitigate risk where we can. So we're just not trying to touch anything. And knowing that, it's not just one deal we have to do this for. If we're building a process where, I know offices. Well, we've got. I think a lot of offices are kind of 60 or 70 deals a month, and so that's a lot of potential client interaction that we just have to. We don't want to be spreading anything around, and so we're just really being really careful. Yeah.
Chris and Dave, another question for you guys: rates, because we've had this come up a lot from our clients. They've gone down and now they've started to come back up. Is that right?
That is true.
Would you recommend for people now? Would you recommend to lock in or hang on a little bit longer?
Dave, do you want to field that one?
Yeah, well, on the rate side, this has happened before. So when the market in 2009, during that last recession, there was a lot of interesting things that happened with interest rates. So what we've seen over the last 2 weeks is that rates went down a lot, and then as quickly as they went, well, not as quickly, but they plummeted, and then they quickly bounced back up. So we're still at very historically low mortgage rates right now. The biggest change is how lenders are pricing the variable rate mortgage, because the prime rate has fallen so much. Lenders have changed, instead of giving discounts on that prime rate, they're actually charging a premium. So what are we telling our clients to do? Depends on your individual circumstances a ton right now. Having a long discussion about your employment, your budget, your goals, and all that good stuff. It's, again, around 3% is the average rate, which is still historically very, very low. But we have to take in all those other things, refinancing, like are you worried about getting more money out of your property, consolidating debts that you might have coming up in the next little while. So yeah, we're, no canned answer. We like to spend a lot more time talking with our clients about that. So yeah.
Okay. And what about the deferral payments right now for mortgages? I know you had a bit.
Yeah, we've had a lot of calls and emails and texts from clients about deferring payments, which is fine. Everyone's really worried, and even those that aren't probably likely to defer are still asking, what if I need to? So we've heard a lot of success stories from clients. The banks and lenders we deal with seem to have the process somewhat streamlined, especially from the few days when they opened it up to the public. I think I've heard some clients were on hold for 4 or 5 hours, which isn't obviously a better or best use of your time. Now, I think it's more of an automated process, it seems, a couple questions and not anything in respect to no paperwork to sign. It just, are you affected? Yes, no. et cetera. And then they skip your payments for, 3, 6, 12 months, depending on the lender. And that's it. We posted an article today on our Facebook site about just making sure that deferring your payment isn't going to impact your credit score at all. Not that it should, but this is a new process to everybody, including the credit bureau. So it's important that people, document who they've talked to, keep track of like when is the payment deferral going to end, and then how do they plan on catching up with those payments, depending on the lender, because it's not just free money. You do have to pay that back. You're likely paying interest on interest, which isn't great. So the less time you can defer, the better. And also, you know what, if you don't need to defer, we've had some people ask, maybe I can defer and then put my money into the stock market. That's probably not the intent of the program. And it takes a lot of resources away from someone who might have lost their job last week. So if people can be maybe patient or diligent about the need and the time frame for deferring, I think this program for deferrals will continue on for quite some time until there's some certainty in the employment market. And so if you don't need to defer, I would suggest don't defer, keep on your payments. A lot of lenders offer like a skip payment option, or maybe interest only, or maybe taking your payment from biweekly to monthly will help a little bit in terms of cash flow. There's some other options that you can explore in respect to minimizing or improving your cash flow, I suppose.
And do you know how, so in terms of repaying that, is that something that you do at the end of the 6 months, or just gets added onto your mortgage term? Or
my understanding is, it just extends your amortization. So instead of having a 25-year amortization, you might have 25 years and 6 months, for example. Okay. It is, a lot of it's lender specific. I don't think they're just going to ask you to start or to repay like 6 months in a lump sum as soon as you can, because that's a lot of money for most for most people, right? So it'll be a gradual kind of like repayment of that, but it's important for sure to understand what that's going to look like depending on your institution. Make sure that you've got all your questions answered, especially if you've been on the phone for 4 hours. Take as much time as you want once you get through to somebody to figure out what that looks like and get the specifics and write it down and diarize and make sure that it's not forgotten about, because that's not really an excuse on anybody's part to not understand that process. It's going to be very critical that people stay on top of that.
Yeah, and then the other main question I got on deferrals in this last week, because we've had clients whose mortgages have started, in the last week, like they just closed on buying something. And so they're thinking, they're in the same problem that everybody else is. Am I eligible? And the answer we hear from the lenders is absolutely. So say you just bought a place closing April 1st, let's say, and your first payment scheduled for May 1st. They are telling us that, yeah, no problem. We understand. They are asking though, if your payment's a month out, to call 2 weeks from now, just to ease the burden that they're facing right now. Obviously, if it's stressing you out, I'm not going to tell you not to call or to look into it for your mental well-being. But that's what they're asking us to pass along.
And one more question too. What are you guys seeing in terms of people refinancing now? Is that a good option for some people to pull out equity to give themselves a bit of a cushion for the next few months, or to take advantage of lower rates than if their term is up for renewal? Are you seeing a lot of that now, or are people putting that on the back burner?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people who are thankfully working jobs that are stable, asking to take advantage of low rates, or maybe low real estate prices, or low equity prices if they want to invest. Now's a great time. I mean, there's nothing like cheap money to kind of keep the economy going. I would say that you've got to be in a position where you can qualify, because a lender, especially if you're moving from one lender to another, they're going to want to ask a little more about your job security, I would suspect. And then also, just getting logistically, as David Watts mentioned, like through the legal process, that's going to be a little bit of a slower process. So I would expect, if you're looking at doing something that's sort of kind of quote unquote critical, start the process sooner and expect it to take longer.
Okay.
We've seen, I'm sure we all have, some service providers are having different levels of service. I've heard stories of appraisers, for instance, not wanting to go inside places, or insurance can take longer. So I think that's good advice to, before you get into a situation where you've either entered a contract or you're, stuck for time, make sure you've done the diligence that is going to be required of you further down the road, and do that early.
And what would you recommend in terms of time frame? Say someone was looking to buy now, and what's the minimum time they could close in with what's going on right now?
Honestly, the situation changes daily. So, normally I would say, to avoid paying extra strata fees and stuff, 2 weeks, but, to give time to actually read stuff and that sort of thing. The challenge now also, a lot of offices are working with skeleton crews, and some are closing. So, if the market all of a sudden gets really busy, of people taking advantage of low interest rates and, perceived bargains in the market, it's quite possible that people won't be able to find, it will take a bit more time to find people to do the closings. Yeah. But honestly, I think a lot of people, I don't see that kind of pressure in the market. I think a lot of people are taking the advice of health officials and staying home for now. But, I think once things turn the corner, which they will, I think you can have a massive reentry to the market. So I think what's important for people is to, do the things that you can do now, be prepared and ready to go. Like, work with Chris and Dave and get all your precondition, pre-qualification stuff done. And then, when it's time to go find a property, you're ready to go, and you can write a strong offer, and not at that point have to start, digging up old payslips. So, yeah, I think the timing is, I don't know, to answer that question. It probably isn't different than usual. Don't try and avoid month ends if you can, which I know is always difficult. And, I think we've often said not to try and close on a Friday, because might get pushed into the next day for getting paid out your mortgages and stuff. And, we've seen a lot of bank branches are closed, and and the ones that are open have reduced hours. Mm-hmm. So we do have some challenges that are new. Mm-hmm. And so, I think, maybe instead of closing on the Thursday, make it a Tuesday or a Wednesday, because there might be an extra couple of days to if you want to move on the weekend. But I think what's also important is for people just to, people are on different sides of a deal, and they're negotiating and everything like that. But we do have to remember we're working together for the common transaction, and for people to communicate early and to try to, be accommodating and, treat people the way you want to be treated. Mm-hmm. And if people, have money coming in late and it's taken a day extra because the bank closed early, you don't have to grind them out on stuff. I think there's room for people to work together if they want to move things forward. And I think that's really important these days.
And have you seen anyone trying to get out of contracts right now who are previously in contracts, and now with the news, they're trying to get out of their purchase or sale? Has that happened on your end?
We've seen some people asking questions about that.
Yeah.
In some situations, actually more so, we've deferred actually a number of deals. Mm-hmm. Deals that we're going to be closing this week. Mm-hmm. People might be extending it for a month, or in some cases longer. I think people are trying to, just push closings out a little bit, rather than close right in the middle of the time that everybody's saying we should stay at home and not do anything. Or not do anything, but just the social distancing. So, I think that there's more people working. People want to do the deal. That's why they got into it in the first place. But there's, the landscape has changed in the last couple of weeks, and so I think that, buyers want to buy, sellers want to sell, and if there's a challenge that is accommodated by them moving that forward by a couple of weeks or a month, they're doing that. Mm-hmm. Having said that, sometimes there's consequences of a deal that they can't move it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We haven't had to refer any of our clients to litigation yet, but I won't be surprised, and I've got that I've got that call on speed dial ready to go if it comes up.
Hopefully not. Okay, so maybe
Hopefully not.
what would you tell people? Maybe like at least 3 or 4 weeks as minimum closing for now. If entering into it.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough to say on that. Like, you know, if in a perfect world, you know, everybody stays home for 2 weeks and this thing starts to peter out.
Yeah.
I think in, you know, where we've seen the more successful the isolations and then the things peter out, you know, in Asia, it's been a couple of months. So, you know, we've started in a pretty serious way not that long ago. So, I mean, I think a month is fair, but I would say before you remove subjects on a deal, I think you want to make sure that you've done all the things you need to do, like make sure you can get insurance, make sure if you need an appraisal, get the appraiser. If you know, confirm who your legal is going to be and that they've got the capacity to do it. And, you know, and whatever else you need to figure, like movers. You know, there's a lot of moving parts to a real estate transaction and to a move. And so, like I said, I think before you go firm on a date, you need to have sort of commitments across the board that you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, and I think you're right, because we've started seeing that where the norm before going into this was almost subject-free offers or 2 or 3 days. Now you're looking at a week and a half, sometimes 2 weeks is standard.
Yeah, I mean, it's and the thing is, it's of course it's, you know, subject-free offers are risky at the best of times, but I mean, that's the landscape, and that's okay though if you know the landscape. But I think, you know, you watch the news, and I mean, cities and provinces are being shut down all around us, you know, different day by day. So, you know, if you write a subject-free offer on a deal that's going to close in 10 days, and then the city of Vancouver says we can't open our doors, you know, that, or someone who's essential to the process, or an individual, you know, one of the buyers gets sick and they're stuck in quarantine, then, you know, these are challenges. And so those are risks that are tougher to mitigate. And I think when you get stuck into a 10-day closing, you know, we don't want to have people coming out of quarantine to sign documents. And, you know, I don't think that's good for anybody. So, you know, these are just sort of environmental concerns that we have to, you know, be mindful of right now. And they're a big part of the deals that we're working on.
That's great. Yeah, so maybe check in obviously with the lenders and all with the notary as well before really making that move, I think is the message there, right?
Yeah, whoever's going to be involved, I think you need to make sure they have the capacity to do what you want to do.
Anything else you guys want to chat about at all?
I think that covers. I'm just looking at the rest of my questions. I think that covers most of the questions I had come in. Do you guys have any other ones that you've had?
No, I think we've covered most of it. I think the key takeaway here is to talk to the key people, the team, a team virtual huddle, not in person, and just make sure that everyone's on the same page before you enter into something where you could affect not only your ability to close, but then you've got somebody else on the other side who you've maybe overcommitted to, or they're relying on you. It's a domino effect. And I think the lesson in today is let's help each other. You know, if everyone's a bit more careful and a bit more diligent, not only with like, you know, personal distancing, but also with a transactional level of care, everything will eventually work itself out and work out for the best typically. You know.
I think also, you know, just for each of us to manage our clients' expectations and advise them well in advance of what the process might be. Because in each, you know, for all of us, things are a little bit different today than they were, you know, 3 months ago. And so, which is fine. I mean, that we work through it. But it doesn't hurt for us to you know, to let our clients know well in advance that, if they want to go and see houses, that might mean looking at the pictures rather than, going and standing on their deck and looking at the view.
Yeah.
And things are just going to take longer. And there are things that are going to cost more probably.
And things are changing day by day. I think that's the other message we're getting.
Well, things are changing day by day, and it's, it's odd to be able to look to a different jurisdiction to see what we might expect in our jurisdiction, maybe a week or two from now. But we do have the ability for that lens, and see where things go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I would just sign off saying, like, obviously this is stressful times for everybody, and especially when we talk big dollar amounts with Vancouver real estate and your mortgage and everything else. And there's lots of info online, but it's, I'd say talk to your lender or call us or call whoever your advisor is. Like, it's stressful times, so it's kind of nice to talk through it with someone who cares. So I would say, if you've got concerns about making your payments, like, call your lender, like, right away. Like, there's enough stress that we're carrying. Let's try to get some of it off our plate. So yeah, don't sit there and try to figure it out yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think more than ever, there's so much more advice and willingness to chat and help, especially in finances. Before it was, very transactional. Now when you call people, they're asking, how are you doing? And it's important. Let's take care of each other. I mean, it's a relationship business for sure. And I think more importantly, giving advice and being open to chatting with clients, just even, allaying some concerns. There's a lot of like untruths out there as well. I think I speak for the four of us. Just contact us however is easier for you, and we can answer your question easily and truthfully, and help you kind of navigate this time that we're in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Good. Well, I guess we should sign off for now. And thanks you guys for your time and the chat. It was nice to see you all virtually. And we'll do this again, and we'll post this up on our respective social medias and websites so everyone can take a look at it.
Awesome. Thank you
all right.
for organizing.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, very much, and appreciate your comments and good advice. Thank you.
Be safe out there. 2 meters.
You guys as well. Wash your hands.
Yeah.
See you. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.